innocent actors who starred in adult movies. Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Screeny. Child stars are forced to grow up under enormous pressure and often spend their adolescence struggling to stay a part of the Hollywood elite. As they grow out of their cuteness and become too old to play the kind of roles that made them famous, offers usually stop pouring in. That's when they start feeling the burning desire to change things up and break into the adult world at any cost. Let's take a look at innocent actors who starred in adult movies. Remember to press the subscribe button so you can catch up on more fun facts about your favorite movies and TV shows. Number 10. Shia LaBeouf, Nymphomaniac. Shia LaBeouf is anything but innocent these days, and each of his moves are more shocking than the last. But he was just another adorable child star at the beginning of the new millennium. Disney's hit comedy Even Stevens transformed him into one of the most recognizable young actors in Hollywood, and the lead role in Holes just sealed the deal. Amazing new offers kept coming in after that, and LaBeouf ended up working with some of the most prolific directors in the world. The Transformers franchise helped him become one of the most profitable actors in the world, but something just snapped inside Shia after a while, and he decided to leave his old life behind. LaBeouf made more questionable moves than anyone can count in the last few years. When it comes to his big screen career, Lars von Trier's erotic film Nymphomaniac is the most notable example. The young actor even sent his personal sex tapes to the director in order to get the role, and famously showed up to the premiere in Berlin wearing a paper bag on his head with words, "I am not famous anymore," written on it. Number 9. Vanessa Hudgens and Selena Gomez, Spring Breakers. Vanessa Hudgens and Selena Gomez never had their wrecking ball moment, but the decision to star in Spring Breakers inspired the same kind of shock. People who grew up watching their adventures in Disney's biggest hits weren't ready for this quick transition into the adult world, and some of them weren't old enough to see it. Hudgens and Gomez shed their good girl image by playing young spring breakers who were no strangers to sex, drugs, alcohol, and even robbery. Most of their fans felt like their role models were setting a bad example by accepting these roles, and some of the critics couldn't help but agree. They accused spring breakers of turning young women into sex objects and pushing booze and bikini hedonism to the extreme. Number 8. Daniel Radcliffe, EQUUS. Only people who spent the last few decades living under a rock wouldn't recognize Daniel Radcliffe's face. He is the epitome of the term child star, thanks to the role of the boy wizard Harry Potter. But the young actor wanted to prove to the world that there's more to him. This magical franchise kept him pretty busy throughout his childhood, but after his schedule cleared up after a bit, Radcliffe decided to try something different. The boy who lived shocked his fans by going full frontal in a controversial play called EQUUS back in 2007. Potterheads couldn't believe what their eyes were seeing after the teen magazines they devoured announced Daniel Radcliffe is about to appear nude on stage. Despite their disgust, the Harry Potter actor stayed true to himself and took off the clothes anyway. His performance in EQUUS eventually received rave reviews, and his commitment to mature roles didn't end there. His filmography following Harry Potter is filled with equally intriguing projects, including Kill Your Darlings and A Swiss Army Man. Number 7. Drew Barrymore, Poison Ivy. Drew Barrymore managed to completely reinvent her image after the 90s, and many people eventually managed to forget she was one of the most troubled child stars of all time. Shortly after rising to prominence thanks to the role in Steven Spielberg's cult classic E.T., the young star turned into a total train wreck. She already started smoking at the age of 9, and each year brought a new terrifying milestone that led her to rehab at the age of 14. Tabloids couldn't shut up about her struggles with drugs and alcohol, and Drew didn't do herself any favors by picking roles that were a reminder of her wild child side. 10 years after E.T. came out, and she landed the role of teen seductress in the controversial drama Poison Ivy. Despite receiving bad reviews, this project proved to the world that Drew Barrymore is no longer a little girl, and that it eventually helped her career blossom. Number 6. Lindsay Lohan, I Know Who Killed Me. Lindsay Lohan is one of the most recognizable child stars whose life quickly spiraled out of control despite her desperate attempts to get back on her feet. She won everyone over with the role of the adorable twins in Disney's hit comedy The Parent Trap, and everyone expected big things from that point on. It seemed like Lindsay is up for the challenge, since she landed the lead role in several teen comedies, including cult classic Mean Girls. Unfortunately, she started breaking under pressure after some time and turned to drugs and alcohol in hope her problems would suddenly disappear. After a series of legal troubles, Lindsay ended up in rehab and had a hard time getting back on her feet. She hopes the dual role in the psychological thriller I Knew Who Killed Me will prove to the world that she's still a talented actress with lots to offer, but movie buffs weren't impressed by her performance. Lindsay ended up winning a Razzie Award for playing a down-on-her-luck stripper and her long-lost twin. Number 5. Hilary Duff, War Inc.
Asian pop star, Yannicka Baby Yes.
Welcome. We're excited to have you.
Don't get too excited.
I'm not that excited.
Hilary Duff is one of the very few Disney stars who didn't go through a whole good girl gone bad phase. But she also made a couple of questionable career moves. After rising to prominence thanks to the hit series Lizzie McGuire, Duff was cast in a couple of successful teen and family movies, including A Cinderella Story and the Cheaper by the Dozen series. They did pretty good with the audience, but big studios weren't so interested in casting Duff after her Lizzie McGuire days were over. Hilary found herself at a crossroads and decided that more mature roles are the way to go. Unfortunately, she didn't wait for the right project and accepted the invitation to star in an embarrassing political satire called War Inc. The role of sexy pop star Yannicka Baby Yeah was a far cry from innocent schoolgirls she used to play, but not many people showed up to watch her putting live scorpions down her pants anyway, since War Inc. bombed at the box office. Number 4. Dakota Fanning and Kristen Stewart, The Runaways. Dakota Fanning and Kristen Stewart both rose to prominence around the same time and starred in several movies together, but their careers looked quite different. Seeing Stewart accept mature roles didn't come as a surprise, since she was just a kid starring in an R-rated movie from the very start. She got her breakthrough with David Fincher's Panic Room, which wasn't exactly a movie you'd show to your kids. Her casting as Joan Jett in The Runaways wasn't shocking, but Fanning's involvement was another story. People who grew up watching her play an innocent little kid in a bunch of PG-13 movies weren't ready to see her in a project filled with sex, drugs, and rock and roll. No matter how shocking this transformation was for some, it helped Hollywood producers see Fanning in a new light and offer her more mature roles in the future. Number 3. Emma Roberts' American Horror Story.
Say whatever you want to me, bitch, but I'm gonna be on the Today Show one day, and I don't care how many dicks I have to suck to get there.
Emma Roberts never shied away from playing narcissistic, self-centered, and icy characters, but the ones that defined the beginning of her career were pretty adorable. The young star gained her reputation as the next big thing thanks to Nickelodeon's hit sitcom Unfabulous and the hit teen movies Aquamarine and Nancy Drew. Even before she started transitioning into more adult roles, it became clear that Emma Roberts isn't your classic child star. Instead of trying to become a pop sensation and accepting roles in projects that will bring her the big bucks, Emma did pretty much whatever she wanted. She didn't shy away from big budget films, but she also accepted roles in several indies that gave her the chance to flex her acting muscles. When Ryan Murphy's call came, Emma was fully prepared to accept her most mature role to date in the 3rd season of American Horror Story. Vain and vindictive witch Madison Montgomery was the first in the series of similar characters she agreed to play in the years to come. Number 2. Macaulay Culkin, Party Monster. 90s kids grew up watching Kevin McAllister wreak havoc on a couple of burglars who dared to cross his path. Macaulay Culkin became synonymous with this iconic role, which propelled him to stardom and defined his life as a whole. He was one of the most in-demand child stars of his generation, and offers just kept coming in. In addition to starring in 2 Home Alone movies, Culkin melted our hearts in a touching family drama called My Girl, and proved he actually has some acting chops with The Good Son. After his starring vehicle Richie Rich failed to break even at the box office, the young star decided it's time to retire from acting. His controlling father was no longer in the picture, and Macaulay was finally able to break free and lead a normal life. He made a comeback in 2003 with Party Monster, but it wasn't a kind of movie you would watch with your parents on Christmas Eve. This project dealt with the New York City club scene, so it goes without saying that sex and drugs were definitely involved. Number 1. Elizabeth Berkley, Showgirls. Not many child stars go from PG-13 to NC-17 in a blink of an eye. And then there's Elizabeth Berkley. She caught our eye with the role of smart and outspoken teen Jessie Spano in the hit sitcom Saved by the Bell. This role should have opened many doors for the young actress, but she struggled to land new gigs after filming wrapped up. After a string of failures, Berkley made a bold move and accepted Paul Verhoeven's invitation to star in his erotic drama, Showgirls. Pamela Anderson, Angelina Jolie, Denise Richard, and Charlize Theron were some of the actresses who turned down the role of the vicious stripper Nomi Malone. Berkley eventually said yes and hoped that this project will show the world what she's got, but it did the opposite. Showgirls went down in history as one of the worst movies of all time and gained cult status for being so bad it's good. Berkley bared it all for this role, but eventually got nothing to show for it, apart from 2 Razzie Awards for Worst Actress and Worst New Star. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Make sure to subscribe to our channel for more amazing content, and don't forget to check out one of the other 2 videos on your screen.